Hey, so I played some music in Roswell, New Mexico. I played in Carlsbad last night at an open mic, and I was driving and I was thinking about this notion of intention, like how your underlying intentions that you have get communicated to other people indirectly. And one thing I noticed in Carlsbad, staff that I interacted with, they didn't seem to like acknowledge you as a person. Like, I don't know, the people of Carlsbad, something seemed a little bit off about that city in general. But when you interact with like somebody as a cashier, I like to have like a brief moment. It doesn't have to be long at all, but like just to acknowledge that like you're both human beings and you have like all this complexity. Yes, I just want to tell you what I want to order and give you money and have you hand me the thing that I ordered. But like I do like some little acknowledgement that we're both people. And the people of Carlsbad that interacted with like that didn't really have that, the cashiers. And it's just kind of left me with like, what's going on in this city? It did seem like a weird city, you know, like when you see the movie theater closed down and talking to the people at the bar, trying to engage with the people at the bar. Um, but thinking of intention, I started to think about this in one capacity with dancing because you know you ask people to dance. I would go to this country music bar for two-stepping and country swing dancing, and I would get no's. Like so, this one the tipping point for me was when this woman said no, and all she heard was my voice. Like she didn't see me. She wasn't facing me, and I had asked her if she wanted to dance. So the only cues that she got was my voice. And ever since then, I thought, you know, what is it about that? The thing is like in that situation, you have to be super confident because if they detect any insecurity about you asking them to dance, it's almost like you're sending them the social signal that you're not used to women saying yes to dancing with you. And then basically, in some sense, they're following social norms by saying no that they don't want to dance with you. So ever since then, I just build up confidence and I build up this intention of yes. Before I ask you to dance, in my mind, the answer that you're going to give is yes. And somehow I think that changes the tone of my voice and that these subtle cues you can pick up on. And in my work setting, I had an undergraduate who was trying to recruit participants. So we would ask people if they would participate in our study. And I could tell we had a problem with recruitment. People weren't saying yes to participate in our study. And I could tell that the way that she was asking them was giving, was sort of indicating that no was what she expected them to say. So you can imagine, how would you ask somebody to participate in a study where the answer that you want is yes? If you say, do you want to participate in my study or no? I mean, that's kind of how it sounded like she asked them. And like, you know, I would say like you kind of squint your face, which is like a negative cue. When you say, do you want to participate in my study or no? The or no part kind of like puts the idea of no in their head. And it's like instinctively, when you hear somebody say it that way, the answer is no, I don't want to participate in your study. And I wanted to think also thinking in terms of music and the notion of intention in music. People can tell. I think people can tell when you're in it for the wrong reasons. I don't think people are really in music to make money, um, but do they enjoy playing in public, for example? And so the intentions I try to set up in my own head is that I want to interact with people and I want to learn about people. So that's what I took with me to Roswell, is that here's my opportunity to go into a Roswell bar, introduce myself to people, share like an hour and a half of my own original music, and then talk to them. That sets up a scenario where I can talk to them. It really opens up the environment. Like, for example, when I was done playing, I went to talk. There was like two groups of people. I went to talk to one group, and then that opened up these two talking to each other. So even when I left, now these two groups were starting to talk to each other, right? So it's sort of like bridging the gap between people, and that's after I performed. That's after I played. But as a musician, people, I think the crowd is intuitive about what your underlying intentions are. And if you are sensitive to the crowd and you care about them, if that's what you truly believe, then people will detect it and they will care about you back. I really believe that people can detect what your underlying intentions are. And so that got me also thinking about, it's like, again, this idea of intentions is this sort of higher level idea that you have, and then it's how that is expressed through your behavior. And the notion that these higher level sort of ideas can be expressed through very subtle forms of behavior. You could think about that too. One of the ways that I try to write songs is I like to come up with lyrics. I mean, this is just how it happens for me, is that when I'm at live shows. Now think about what that means. If the lyrics pop in my head when I'm seeing a live show and when I'm in the crowd, then it seems only natural that that same song, those same lyrics will go well within the same setting where they popped up in my head, which is in the live show with the crowd, with people drinking beer. Usually maybe I've had a beer or two when lyrics pop up in my head. So that's the seed where my songs come from. That's where they're generated, but that's also most likely the environment where they'll be most receptive to it. And so there's this sort of circularity, this sort of natural way that things work that I think it just works organically like that. And so, for example, like if you're a songwriter who takes things very seriously and you have to go to some other country and go sit on the beach on some island to spend a week of dedicated songwriting, do you think that the songs that you write in another country on a beach on an island are going to translate into a brewery setting in your own country with people drinking beer? They might not translate. So where would the songs that you write when you're sitting on a beach in an island on your very special songwriting retreat, where would those songs go best? Probably with people on that same beach, on that same island, because that's the environment that you needed that produced them, and so that's sort of the environment that will be most receptive to it too. The last thing I wanted to say about intention, I know I'm giving all these separate examples. There's like the cashier intention, there's the cashier example, there's the worker asking people if they want to participate in an experiment, there's the performer who you detecting whether they genuinely like the crowd and things like that. There's where songs come from. But I've been thinking about trying to get gigs organically. So, like when I played in Roswell, there were people from Texas and they gave me some names of some breweries, some places that would support my music. But the point is that to get the locations of your gigs by talking to people. And those people interact with you face to face. They see you face to face. So in order to make a tie between your interaction with them there and your interaction with some place you've never been before, like you actually have a tie, you actually have a connection. Somehow their brain is making the calculation that interacting with you in this moment is seems that the interaction that I had with you in this moment would be receptive to the interactions that I had with people at the specific bar in the specific city. And that's very powerful. I think the feeling of finding gigs organically by actually talking to people like that. So one thing I did is on social media, I put out advertisements where they would target cities that I wanted to tour, and then I would ask them to listen to my song, and then I would ask them where it would be a good place for me to play in their city. So I got some recommendations that way. But my theory is the recommendations I get like that, and that sort of organic, directly interacting with people method, is going to be more appropriate than the recommendations I would get. And I hope to compare this, but there are some online sites that distribute your information to venues so that they can book you. And I'd like to see if I sort of have a better time in the places that people actually recommend versus the places that these venues sort of blindly put me at. And so I'll put some links to the those websites that allow you to push through a bunch of requests to play gigs. below. But I'm just curious to see if there will be a difference. So thanks for listening to this, and hit me up with some subscribes and some thumbs ups and likes, and let me know what you think about these ideas. If you have any more examples of how intention impacts humans' interactions with each other, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments.